Thank you so much for clicking on our video. My name is Skyly and I am the founder of Forever Counts Real Estate Group. If you've clicked on this video, it means that you are looking to brainstorm with other entrepreneurs, you are looking to grow your business, and that is so exciting because we want to collaborate with you. That is the whole point of the collaborative mastermind movement that we have created. So thank you again for clicking on the video. I hope you find tremendous value in every video that you watch, and I'm excited to have you on this journey with us. For those of you guys who have never met Callie before, she is on our team. She does all of our marketing. And so she is going to be doing social media 101 today. She's like our special guest. I feel very privileged to have her on the team. She was actually working with us as an ISA originally for about a year. I don't know exactly like how it changed, but she got into photography. She just did like an amazing job and she loved it. And so I was like, do you want to just like transfer over to be like our marketing girl? And so that's kind of how that happened. And if you guys have looked at my social media, that's all Callie. Like, and it is like so beautiful. All of the marketing that she has done, like Instagram and Facebook and all of our new listing designs and like all of that. She does our blogs, she does newsletters, and it's just like, it's so good. So she's here today. She's going to go over, I don't know what you want to talk about today. We were going to break it up into a few sessions. Hey, Cal.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That was so nice. It's nice to hear. Tell me all the time, and it's really cool. Yeah, definitely just kind of like stumbled upon it, and everything just kind of like lined up, and it wasn't planned, but it worked out really nicely.
I feel like that's always is what's meant to be.
Yeah, there's definitely like some manifesting happening. Like looking back, it's like, oh, okay, that happened, and then this happened, and it was all just kind of fitting into place. Yeah, so I had a few things I wanted to talk about, but I figured that I would break it down into smaller portions. And I'm kind of just approaching this as if someone didn't really know anything about social media. And I was kind of looking on who's on here. And I think everyone does have a pretty good grasp of social media and why it's so important. But for anyone that might watch this that has no clue, I thought it would be good for us to chat about everything to do with it. And I wanted to start with brand voice and what goes with that and why that's important to any business, really. I think it's relatable to all sorts of industries, real estate, photography, restaurants. Everyone has their brand voice, right? So yeah, I actually put together a little slide. I'm going to see if I can, did it in slides. This was my first time using Google Slides. It seemed like it was easier than PowerPoint. So social media 101, we're going to start with your brand voice, establishing your aesthetic, niche, and philosophy. All those three things really go hand in hand. There's a mixture of each element within each other. But today we're going to go with aesthetic. But first of all, I just wanted to know if everyone knows what brand voice means.
I do not know. You tell me.
Okay. Well, it is a distinct personality a brand takes on in its communication. So I actually read this article and it was a really good way of explaining it. It said, like, imagine you go to a dinner party, there's tons of guests there, and you're just chatting with everyone, getting to know everyone. And then one person just really like stuck into your memory. They were very distinct. The way that they told stories was just super memorable and they were unique. That's kind of the same thing as a brand voice. And it can be all sorts of different personalities. Like you might remember someone because they were so warm and cheerful, or you might remember a brand because they were so knowledgeable, very professional. It's just really like a personality all in all. So it's kind of just asking yourself, like, if my brand was a person, what would their personality be? What would they be like? What's their characteristics? Typically, your brand, especially I think being in the real estate industry, it's going to be based on who you are and your principles. So like for Skyly, I know what's been really important to her to come across as approachable, super community-based, team-oriented, really like uplifting each other, especially other women and other realtors. Kind of something that we've really tried to make important within her social media, not just posts, but like through the newsletters and advertisement graphics. That's just been part of her brand voice. Would you agree, Skyly?
Yeah, actually, I was wondering, I was like, I wonder what your perspective is on like the brand that we kind of picked. But it's funny because like, I don't know, I feel like I just talk a lot and then you just do what you do. Like I don't actually
edit it.
Yeah.
Streamline it. Yeah, that's something that's really important to me too, like managing social media accounts is I like to be like very close and talk with my clients a lot so I can get to know like how they speak, because I don't want it to sound like someone's writing for them.
Yeah.
And that was something that I really had to learn too, was like, okay, just because you like that color, Callie, like doesn't mean that that person likes that color. Like really have to put myself in that person's shoes and their style and making sure that I'm speaking like them. So, because it can sound really robotic and generic if you aren't close with the person that you're working with, right? And that's the whole thing.
Times though that people like will be like, "Oh, I saw your thing," and I'm like, "What thing?" And then
Yeah, I better go look.
They do. They think that it's me. I'm like, "What are we talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
So it's good, like you said, you put yourself in that person's shoes or whatever, because you want it to sound authentic. I think that's one big thing with social media is that you need to come across as your like authentic self, because as soon as they're gonna know that you weren't being authentic on your social media. And I think it's really important too. So
I think a lot of people get really stuck too, where they're like, gosh, like I just like don't know what to write. I don't know what to make my caption. What am I going to talk about? And I think a lot of the times it's because they're trying to be someone that they're not. And they're trying to think like, okay, well, like, what would this person write? Whereas it's just so much easier and organic when you can just be like, well, this is what I'm thinking about today. So I'm going to put it on my social media, not trying to be someone that you're not. I think is really what's going to help you grow. Yeah. So brand voice reaches to everything. It's not just social media. Like I said, it's newsletters, posts, your logo, your advertising, everything. It is super important. And it's something that, I just started to learn about too. I just did a course and learned a lot about how important brand voice is. So I just wanted to kind of go over a couple really well-known brand voices, such as Pepsi. I know for myself, like when I think of Pepsi, I think of like all the celebrity endorsements that they have. They try and keep up with the times. Like, it was Michael Jackson, then it was Britney Spears. Now it's like Kendall Jenner. I don't really see commercials anymore, but they've always tried to be like really youthful, fun, bubbly, changing the world. And it's pop. And it's funny though, like you get those feelings when you see Pepsi. But in the end, it's a cola. But they've done really well for themselves.
I see like a few years ago, I could be wrong, and I'm like foot and mouth if I am wrong, but on Super Bowl, they did Puppy Monkey Baby, and I'm pretty sure that was Pepsi as well.
Oh, that was Sprite, I think.
Was it? I don't know.
I do remember what you're talking about, but yeah, it's just so wacky, but you remember it.
Yeah. Making it memorable, like you said, keeping up with the times, things that people would find entertaining.
Yeah, I totally remember that one. Yeah. Okay, and then another one, so completely different, would be like Apple. When you think of Apple, you think of, well, I guess more like sophisticated and cool and city. It's become this big thing where it's like, oh, you don't have Apple? Okay, which I don't get, because I think all Samsungs are amazing. But Apple has put themselves out there to be like the leader of technology, putting themselves to be the expert. And, you see that symbol, it's Apple.
Yeah.
So then there's just a few others that I just found that these aren't my images. I just found them on Google, but it's true. Like when you think of Disney, Hallmark, Cadbury, you can kind of see they all have like similar fonts too. And that's a big thing about brand personality. You don't want to be like this ultra trying to be professional and very just like straight to the point, and then have like this Disney cursive. Like it clashes, right? It doesn't make sense. You would want more of like the Tiffany & Co. or Gucci to be sophisticated. It's just all these things that I think it's a lot of like psychology that goes into it, what it makes people feel when they see it, when they see the symbol.
I think so. And it's the colors too. Cause I remember there was something, I can't remember what I took. It was like I learned this a while ago, and it had to do with like the psychology of colors. And there was like a restaurant out there that actually like did everything in blue because it was like calm and cool, collected, and like people stayed for a long time. And then like at red, for example, it was like, okay, just like kind of feel like a little bit of urgency and you're kind of like jittery a little bit. And so looking at these two, you see the competence or whatever, you can see there's like Intel and like Volvo, and those are like, they feel cool and collected, but you see the excitement ones and they have all red.
Yep, totally. Yeah. When you could fall down a rabbit hole, like looking into the psychology, which I know like Skyly and I both enjoy reading about how different things affect us without us even knowing it. Yeah, but that's so true. Like for Skyly, her colors are green, and we'll kind of get into that too, like brand colors. Okay. So next one. So today we're going to talk about aesthetics. So what is aesthetics? In short, it's on social media, it means the overall look and visual theme of a social media account. So to me, like when I think of aesthetics, it's like being cohesive, being on point, on brand, making sure that you're staying in your lane of what you're trying to portray to people, not kind of bouncing all over the place. And the basic ingredients that go into aesthetics is the color scheme, use of filters, like editing, the type of content and fonts. And then we've already kind of talked about this, but why is it important to your brand? Your aesthetic is the first thing potential customers will notice when they check your brand's profile. The colors, layout, tone, and overall feeling of your page contributes to an aesthetic that can either gain you a new follower or send them running. So this is the client, right? Hopefully a potential new client. I just like, I know like Skyly, this is super important to her too, and why she invests time and money into her social media running smoothly is because it lends a lot of credibility to potential clients, right? Like if you go and Google someone and you can't find a thing about them except maybe like an old Facebook page, it's not that it might not be a bad thing, but I know like as someone who's searching for a new agent or a photographer, it's kind of like concerning. It's like, oh, it's like they have no history. It's just like, it's comforting and it's inviting to be able to Google Skyly McCallum. You're going to see her website. You're going to see her LinkedIn. You're going to see her Instagram, her Facebook. And then when you go on there, she's active. You're seeing pictures of her family. You're seeing what she's been up to, seeing the houses that she sold, a little bit of everything. I know for myself that when, like I said, when I'm searching for someone, I want to see a little about them and be able to relate to them.
I think it has made a difference in our business though, because when I first started, like originally I started with Meet Pepper and they're freaking amazing. They made everything super seamless for us to transfer over to Cali. But they started from the ground up and they were the ones who took over my social media originally because what I was posting was not super consistent, which is important. It was not cohesive because I didn't have time to edit my photos and it didn't have like a specific voice or anything. And then when they took over, it's a long haul game. So for anybody who's thinking about like really putting some time and energy into social media, it took about like a year and a half, I think, for it to be like not running smoothly, but it took about a year and a half for like the brand to actually be like noticeable. Okay. But there are people who sign up to our website. And then, like you said, Cal, they'll just like, they want to know more about you. And then they'll reach out to me and be like, I've had a few of them actually say that they feel like they know me already. And I'm like, we've never met before, but there's so much stuff on there that they do feel like they know you. And I think in our generation, there are a lot of people who want to see the reviews. They want to see the person. They want to get a grasp of who you are before they actually reach out to you. Like you said, if you search for someone and they don't pop up, you're kind of like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know for like even myself, like someone will be like, oh, I met this person or I'm starting to date someone. And I'm instantly like, okay, what's your name? Like Googling, or not Googling, but Facebooking. Like, yeah, it's so easy. It's at our fingertips. So when you can't find somebody or much on somebody, it's kind of like, oh,
yeah,
well, that's like strange.
Oh, let me dig in here.
Yeah, like it really just like lends a lot of credibility, right? Like you're like, okay, they're not a psycho, they're not a scam, right? And there's a lot of the older generation hasn't really caught on. But some have, like not. I don't mean to throw any shade at the older people, but I know like in Clearwater, there's a few realtors that just haven't caught on, and I'm like, how did people even find you? Like I guess they just see signs and or referrals, but I think especially for like upcoming and people trying to establish their clientele, like it's super important to be putting yourself out there, and it's free advertising, really. You don't have to pay. Like you don't have to pay anything to have an Instagram or Facebook. You can pay more money to run ads, but it's free marketing. Okay. Oh yeah. So another thing too, I think is like the importance. It's not only important to be able to find this person, but it's important to have a social media that is cohesive and aesthetically pleasing, because I think that just as humans, like we're just attracted to things that are pretty. Like quite honestly, we like things that are in order and look nice.
Yeah, I agree. Have you guys ever like looked at someone's Instagram and been like, nope, and like not followed? Because I just did that like last week.
That's sad, but it's true.
I know.
Okay, so this is just like a little example. Okay, so aesthetics in action. This is just one of my clients. And she's a hairstylist, so I don't think there's any hairstylists here today, but so like while searching for a new hairstylist and coming across both pages below, who are you more likely to book with and why? So on the left here, this was before I started working with her, and then afterward is I just took a screenshot of a chunk of what I've done for her. So I just kind of wanted to hear from everyone what their thoughts are.
I feel like she feels more professional.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah,
more professional and just like brighter and more inviting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a different energy, hey? Like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
and splitting it up like that, not having just straight hairstyles each one. I like that too.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like just paying attention to detail, like the backgrounds, it's just and that's the thing is like she was just so busy, like she didn't have the time to be sitting there, and it just wasn't her thing. She's doing hair. She wasn't so much into social media, but making sure that the backgrounds aren't super busy and cluttered, because I think most people, like how our environment is changes how we feel. Like when you have a nice clean house, you're like, okay, I'm okay. Whereas you have like a ton of clutter, it just kind of makes you feel stressed out. And I think it's the same for what we're looking at online. And like you said, a little diversity, because she actually offers makeup services too. And she sells products, which we weren't seeing before. So it's nice to split things up, break it up a little bit.
So Cal, I think for us, we do this too. But talking about that, how you said that she does like a few other things, I assume that there's like a content calendar that you would follow. And for anybody else wanting to do social media, if there's certain things you follow, coming up with a content calendar so that your grid can actually be like staggered is like pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. And then it actually changes like season to season, just kind of like what the colors are starting to look like, what the client wants to focus on. Like towards wedding season, there's going to be more like bridal photos and makeup. But just kind of typically like what I was kind of doing here, it's pretty simple. You can see like I was doing like a product, a hair, and then like kind of a graphic. And then, I was just kind of mixing it up. It's good to have like a calendar, but for me, to be totally honest, for me, it's more like just eyeing it. I'm like, hey, well, what looks good? And I'll get into that too, like the apps that I use to be able to do that. But I know like when I came in to work for you, Skyly, Meet Pepper actually did have a schedule.
Yeah.
For Monday to Friday, like Monday was like financial, Tuesday was real estate, and then like Wednesday would be family. And we kind of strayed away from that just because it was a little bit like limiting, but we still try and like make sure that we're getting all these elements.
Yeah. You want it to like you said, because you wouldn't want to be like hair, random product, hair, and product.
Yeah.
So, but like you said, you use like later when you can actually lay out the grid so you can actually see what it's going to look like when you populate, like when it actually goes out. So that's helpful too, because then you have it staggered nicely. I think Pepper had a calendar because I didn't have just one person doing it. They had a bunch of So in order
Yeah.
for them to
Have
organize.
consistency in organization. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that like this part of social media, like this is my specialty, like being a photographer, like looking at colors and making them match comes easy to me, but I know for a lot of people, like it doesn't. So I
Yeah.
think that's like where it would be important to have like a calendar to make sure that you're splitting things up and breaking it up to make it look nice. Okay, so then I was going to edit a photo with you all. And Skyly gave me permission to use one of hers. So, oh,
Fun.
let's edit together. So, Lightroom, that's my number one for photo editing. I do use a few different apps, but this is, if you're going to have anything, it would be Lightroom. So, Skyly and I, we get together usually once a month to shoot content. And this month we all met at Art Naps and got some really fun photos there. And then we went to the carnival afterwards, actually. So when I came to work for Skyly, she already had a preset. And for those who don't know what a preset is, it's something that a lot of photographers, it's usually photographers, they actually create and then sell, usually on Etsy, but some have websites. And what it means by preset, it's different from a filter. Actually, it's probably really similar to a filter, but it's used for Lightroom and sometimes Photoshop. So preset means like preset settings. So you can see here, you can change the light, colors, temperatures, effects, details. So this would be sharpening and noise reduction. Yeah, so just a lot of different things here. So when you buy a preset, this is all already done. This photo that you're seeing of Skyly is raw, so nothing's been done to it. It's straight out of the camera. So then if you were to take a preset, I have so many, but the one that Skyly uses, well, I'll just show you the difference, actually. These are ones I don't use, but just for the demonstration. So that completely changes the photo. So if you go back to, oh yeah, we're done. You can see now that all these settings have been changed with one click. Often it's not one click as much as people like to promise it is. It never is. There's always things that still need to be changed. So then if we went here, I'll show you one that I use most often. And for me, it's always a starting point. So this is one like on my personal photography business. This is one that I always use. And then I would usually go into like here, increase the contrast, lighten it up. And then you can see the shadows.
Yeah. So Callie, with the preset, because this is what I noticed too, like you said, it was just like a starting point because before, like I had bought some presets. This was before I had a social media manager. Cause I was like, why do they all look so cohesive and like they all match so nicely?
Yeah.
And I ended up buying presets. Right? So like you click the preset because you're like, oh, you think it's just like a blanket and it's going to make them all cohesive. But like you said, it's more like a starting point. Cause like, unfortunately, depending on how you take the photo and like where the light is coming in and all that stuff, you might have to adjust it as you go as well. But at least the preset gives you like a good starting point and it can blanket change a bunch of them at the same time so that you can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the huge learning curve for me too. Like before becoming a photographer, I got them for my like cell phone pictures. I would see Instagram influencers and I'm like, oh, those are so nice. Oh, I'm gonna buy the preset that they're advertising. And then it's like, oh, but
I still have
the reason it's so yeah, like this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah, I thought that it was a quick fix. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get the preset and it'll just be like make them all look so good. And then I was like, actually.
Whereas once in a while it does, and you're like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah.
But more often than not, and the reason that is because say like this particular creator uses a Canon. So what they would do is they go out shooting in RAW, they take a photo, they would get home, change the settings like I am right now without adding a preset. And then you can create a preset. somewhere around there. Anyways, you can create presets and then they would sell that file on Etsy. So that's because it was made for that particular lens, that camera, and then you can get cell phone ones. So then I'm shooting with a Nikon. It's going to be different. Things are going to be needed to be tweaked. So yeah, it's always just a starting point. And then, so like here, like typically I would go into color and I would increase the saturation of green. See if you can, so much to be done. And the thing with presets too is like, there's the color mix here, but then there's also, you can get more in depth where you can actually like, I haven't done it in a while actually, but anyways, you can go, oh yeah, color grading. So I can take like my shadows and like, you can just make certain colors like have more or less of one of the colors. So a lot of the presets, there's lots done to like these things. That's really what really changes the feel of the photo is right here. So that's something that I never mess with because the presets that I use, I like how they've done it. So anyways, we're just going to edit it as I would for Skyly. I really need to go through this and get rid of some because there's lots I don't use anymore.
Just when you first started and you were playing around with it, probably.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you have to buy it, like to try it.
Yeah.
One I really like though is the Jillian Harris ones. I have these here. I've actually used that on some of your photos because they're quite similar to the one.
Oh, like the colors and stuff that we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how long would you say, like if we were talking about like not taking the photos, but just like editing them and then putting them on like later for someone who's wanting to manage the social media account, like how long would you say it takes from like, how much time investment would you say someone would have to take in order to kind of do the
to do the editing and then
put on later captions? Would you say this is a big time investment, this portion, or is it more the captions that are the time investment?
I would say it depends. It depends on how important the look is to people. But I would say this is a pretty big time investment, and I can understand why someone wouldn't have time to be doing this.
Yeah.
I would say let's say for bi-weekly. And also it does depend too, like what the lighting is like at the time. Sometimes it fluctuates. Like this was actually really good lighting. Honestly, I for 2 weeks, I would say like 20 hours.
Holy cow, hey.
Yeah. For posting and caption and everything. Yeah, about that. Right. That's just like an average because sometimes it's quicker, sometimes that might be like that would be about the average 20 hours. Yeah. But then I think there's some people who they're probably not as particular as I am.
Yeah.
So it could be faster. I'm just kind of perfectionist.
I said I tried my own.
Where is yours? Jeez, I should have went through this before I started. Oh, here we go. No, not Morgan Faith. Slate and Ivory. The timeless one. So this is how it starts. And then I'll show you here, like it becomes this eventually. So actually what I can do here, just to make things faster, I can go up to here, copy settings, and then here, paste settings.
Whoa, that's
yeah. Yeah, so that's a good time saver, especially if you have consistent lighting, like I did with this photo shoot. That does make things easier.
Wow, that was really fast.
Yeah, so then you can I can be like, okay, I want a bit brighter. We like to add some grain.
Yeah, I do like that. The matte tone.
The matte tones.
Apparently, the matte tones are a UK thing. I don't know exactly. There was someone's feed that I saw and I was like, oh my God, I love this matte tone.
It totally is. Not even just the UK, like all of Europe.
Yeah.
And lots of like brown, like they have lots of brown. Everything becomes brown, which I think is popular here too, like all the warm colors.
Yeah.
But personally, I've been liking like more color lately. Like I like seeing the green. I don't like turning the green into gray.
No, me neither. I like it to be like warm, but I don't know. It's weird. I have the
warm, matte, colorful. Did anyone have any questions about Lightroom?
I don't know if you already went over this. Is there a free version or do you have to pay?
Yeah, Lightroom is actually free.
Oh,
You do have to pay for it to have more memory. That's all that you end up paying for, which I do because I have like 50,000 photos on here, something crazy. Yeah, it's free. But and then you can get mobile and desktop.
Right. And wanted the presets, that's you just pay for the presets from whoever photographer. You said you could buy them off Etsy, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend Etsy. I haven't had much luck with Etsy. I found that I had to really play with them a lot. Like these ones are Etsy and it came with so many. It was like so overwhelming. Like this is one. I'm like, how on earth do you ever even know which one?
Yeah.
A lot of the times if you're scrolling through Instagram, this is a good tip, and you pay attention to the hashtags, people will hashtag the preset. So like a really popular one is like dirty boots and messy hair. That's the one that I use most of the time. You'll see like, and I found it because my favorite photographers were hashtagging dirty boots and messy hair. And I was like, what is that? And then I ended up finding it. Yeah, always pay attention to hashtags. I've learned a lot through hashtags and copying them because I'm like, well, obviously that hashtag's working. So then I'll make a little note to use that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Lightroom is connected to Photoshop. So once you have like an Adobe account, you can I could open this directly into Photoshop on desktop and then do any things that I need to do, like stray hairs, which I mean in here too, like there is some ability to take things out. Oops, way too big.
Are you taking my tattoos away?
Yeah. So, I mean, like this could be used for blemishes too.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, like Lightroom, it is pretty good for things like that. So that's what you would use for like, you could do like stray hairs or blemish. Skyly has perfect skin.
Very sweet.
Yeah. So there's some ability there. I do like Photoshop better. So then you would just want to save this. You could just export to camera roll, which is good for social media. But like if you were going to export these, like for me as a photographer for clients, I would go to export as JPEG 100% quality, and it just takes a bit longer. Well, when you're doing like 60 of them. But yeah, that's about it. Was there any other questions? Actually, I do want to show you this too, the masking feature. It's really cool. Changed it. So before you would have to go in with like a brush. Let's say if I wanted to just lighten these plants. I have to go in like that. Then it's only lightening where I've brushed it.
Oh, that's cool too.
Yeah. I guess I should have used an example because now you can do select subject and it has like AI and it finds you. So this has been a huge time saver too. So then I can change you.
Right, like shadow or something or whatever you can.
Yeah. If you were in like, I like in my photography, I like to do like darker backgrounds and then make the subject stand out. So like just for the sake of this, you can darken that and then go back to this and then you can make Skyly stand out a bit more.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. And then too, like just looking at this photo,
there's like a random, oh sorry,
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
What about if there's like a random object or a person that you want to take out? Would it be that same tool that you were using on the tattoo, or is there a different way?
Yeah, so that would be the same tool. That's why I like Photoshop better, because I think that it's just a bit smarter at helping you take that out. But you have two options. You can heal. So then it's just kind of like AI. It tries to find like something that's the closest.
Okay.
Yeah, but you could use like, and you would do it a bit nicer because it wouldn't just be scribbles, but that's the heal. And then we can go into clone. Let's say I wanted to take like this little thing out.
Remember how I used to always eat olives?
Who, me?
Me. Yeah. I don't know why. But every time I eat olives with a little.
Like that, but you know, a little more polished.
Yeah. Oh,
But when
cool.
it's out, it's gonna like no one's gonna notice it anyway, right?
Yeah, like you kind of can, but we would do it a bit.
Yeah, it quickly. Way like
Yeah, it's a lot of just like playing around on Lightroom. You start to learn all the fun tricks, and going on YouTube, there's lots of tutorials on how to do different things. The thing on, sorry, what?
I was just gonna say, so after you do this, that's when you import them onto later, right?
So I would import them. For me, I use OneDrive to hold all my photos because I would export it to OneDrive, which I've still been trying to kind of figure out on this iPad. It's a bit slow, like to catch up. So then I have all my photos here. I can access this on anywhere that you can sign into OneDrive, which is laptops, phones, everything. So then like for Skyly, I have her Forever Kamloops, and I have it broken up into different months. So then, oh no, I have my later app, sorry. We would go on to later. So this is a really cool app. This is one of my favorite discoveries. It allows you to pre-plan I think as far as you want to go. Maybe it's like you can do 30 posts or something like that. Might be more ahead of time. So this is when you can batch content, which is how we do it. And you can also see how it's going to look before you actually post it to make sure it all looks good together. So you can kind of see here too, like here, I kind of was like pulling the blues because it just so happened that we had so many blues happen in our photo shoot. So something that was really important to Skyly too, that she actually realized that she really liked about different Instagram feeds, was repetition of kind of the same thing, but a different view, which we actually, oh, it's not letting me see farther. Here.
I think, yeah, like when you guys are thinking about creating your Instagram too, I would go, like, this is what Pepper and Callie did too, is that they were like, okay, go, like, what is it that you like about this account? Like, go Instagram, find an account that you really like and start really looking at it and be like, okay, what is it that you actually like about this like account? And then that's how we were able to kind of figure out like what it is that I was like, I want something like this, but I don't know what it is. And then that's how we went on to the other ones. And there was a few that I looked at and I was like, the thing that I liked about it is that it came in batches. So like you can see, like when we did the Christmas one, we did like at least a 12 grid of like the photos or the same type of photos, but like at different angles. So you can see like Cody has that like same Christmas outfit on and he's like spread throughout the thing, or even like the tree, and it's like different angles. And the other thing too that I were talking about with Stacy from Meet Pepper was that she was like, you need to do, when you take photos of things, you should try and do them in three different like you should do a wide angle one, a normal one, and then a close up, and then that would scatter them throughout your feed, and like it keeps people like brains entertained. You like blend together, but they're not too similar. if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It goes back to like the psychology of it being cohesive, and it just looks nice to the eye. You kind of go from different angles.
Yeah, because Callie,
too,
you have
like,
shots that are like close up, and you have like the one of the
Yeah.
corner, the leer, the full one here. So they all kind of like.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's something that Skyly, like you said, like you took the time to analyze, screenshot different feeds. It's not like you're copying, but you just want to pull the elements that speak to you, and you're like, okay, this is what's what's the word I'm looking for? The same. Like, what's the same element throughout all these different feeds that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be really fun. Like here too, like we did her shelving, so we did like a few different angles of that. Even like her and Cody at the desk or at the counter. Yeah, so that was something that really made it easier for me too, because she's like, oh, like I don't know how to explain it, but this is what I want. And then finally we realized like, oh, okay, like you like to see it show up a few times. It's not just like, oh, here's a photo of Huxton looking at the bunny, and then, oh, here's Christmas. Like which is obvious. Like, I don't think anyone would do that, put a Christmas picture in April, but, and then like here, like these, we couldn't get together because people just were sick or things happened, but I had like a backlog of photos that I could kind of put together. So that's what I tried to do with like the blue.
Mm-hmm. So now that we're looking at it too, you guys can see like the little like play button on the top right corner of some of the photos. We always try and use like photos that are cohesive with the grid, even when we do a reel, even if it's not related to the reels, just so that it looks like it looks cohesive on your actual grid, because otherwise you're going to have like a still photo or a still shot of your reel on your feed, and then it's not going to blend in properly. So that's kind of why we do that. And the reels are really important to put on your feed as well, because they don't get as many views when you don't have them on your feed. So make sure that if you do reels, you put them on your feed, but I would definitely make sure that you have a cohesive like photo as your like front.
Yeah, definitely keep it going, because you know they actually just changed it though, that so I don't think it's on everyone's account, but like on mine I can actually change the cover afterwards. Yeah, which is like
some of those the videos and your face is just like frozen.
Yeah, and you're like, ew, I don't want that on there anymore.
Yeah.
So then we go on to like our art nap in the carnival. That was super fun. Lots of green for spring. And again, you can see my grid concept for this month was carnival, art naps, and then a filler, which you can get fillers from sites like Usplash, just anything that's like, what's the word? Like you don't have to pay to use it, copyright free.
Yeah, like people upload their photos on there and they're free for you to use. There's a bunch.
Yeah, even like through Canva, you can access it. But I like to do my own. So yeah, so then we did, and then carnival, art naps, carnival. Yeah, and anyways, yeah. Just tried to make it look nice and cohesive. So back to later though. I actually just went and like deleted what we had, but I screenshotted it to make sure I knew how it did look. But yeah, it's really nice here. Like, so then I would go to this, to the media, and then I would just, add some photos in. And I really, like at this point, I'm just adding them in. I'm not making sure that they flow.
The one with Tony putting her fingers behind my head kills me.
Oh, I know, it's the best. I love how you didn't know either until you seen the photos.
I was like, hell.
Tony needs something to do with her hand though during the photo shoots. She's definitely like what do I do? What do I do with my hands? So it worked out well.
So funny.
So then they're just still loading a bit. So normally I would put like 30 photos on and then just play with them until I have it the way I like it, and then get rid of the rest. So then you just click rearrange, We can move things around. Sorry, this is usually easier.
It's nice that you can rearrange them because then you can actually have them like staggered properly. Because I remember before I knew that later existed, I'd try and like can't picture what it's gonna look like when you're trying to like upload day at a time.
Oh, exactly. I know. Like it's so handy. It's one of my favorite tools. This, and then you can also use Preview app. Preview has a free version. I don't think that later does, but there's an app called Preview app, which it's similar. It's very similar. You can see how your grid's going to look, plan it out in advance, make sure it's going to look nice. So then let's just say this is how we wanted it. We'll click save, and then we're going to go to the calendar view. And then you're able to, actually you can, after you've had the account, I think for like, you think you have to have it for 2 weeks, you can go to this feature that is best time to post. And I already have it enabled for Skyly, but what it takes like 2 hours, but it goes through your entire Instagram and sees like which got the most interaction and engagement and at what time, what day. So then it gives you all the suggestions on here of when the best time to post is for that day. So then I would take this one and I'm going to change the time. Where is it? Oh, you're covering it, Skyly, your head. I know, I keep moving you around. So then I go to change, and then just down here, it's super simple. Best time to post, 5 p.m. on a Monday. Bam, got that one. And then here's where we would put our caption, captivating caption here. Hi, here's Cody.
Make sure you put your call to action at the bottom of that.
Oh yeah. Hold on. What is your name? Yeah, call to action. So you really want to do, this is funny, but normally we'd want to do something that is going to catch people's attention. So a better one would be like just the other day, that was a good one, like giveaway $100 to, I mean, you don't always have to be giving stuff away, but something that's going to catch someone's eye when they're scrolling through quickly.
Yeah. And we could do like a whole other video on algorithm, but if you guys can get people to comment and like and share your stuff, the Instagram's going to think that people like your stuff and it's going to show more often. So in order, the thing is that everybody that you are friends with on Instagram or Facebook, for that matter, you know how like you go through and you see the same person's stuff all the time, and then you're like, oh, I wonder what this person's doing. Do they even have Facebook anymore? And you go on and you can see that they've been posting stuff, but it's not actually popped up on your feed. That's because Facebook and Instagram don't know that you like that person, even though you're friends with them. So in order for you need to engage on other people's pages so that your stuff pops up on their page, and then vice versa. If you can get them to comment on, like, and share your stuff, then Facebook and Instagram is going to be like, hey, this person's stuff is liked and we're going to show it to more people because they want to share things that are popular. That's why when sometimes we had one post go completely viral, we had like 500,000 views on it and it had like 1,500 likes on it. And the reason that happened is because I had like 100 people on my personal page like and share it. And then all of a sudden Instagram was like, hey, let's blow this up because so many people liked it on her page. So if you can, the call to action that we're talking about, saying like, what's your name? That's to like encourage people to interact on your posts.
Comment.
Right. So again, we could do like a whole on that, but I just wanted to throw that in there quickly because we are running out of time. Super important.
Yeah. I know, that's why I'm like, we need to break this up. There's so much to tell and that could be an entire hour in itself.
Totally.
Engagement and algorithm.
Yeah.
So that is really, it's crazy. That's why giveaways are so great, because you're going to have people like, follow, comment, and share.
Yeah.
So, okay. So then like for Skyly, we have our saved captions. I came into this with them already made from Meat Pepper. Actually, I did create this one though. It's just a little bit more like smaller and niche.
Oh, the hashtag.
Yeah. So which hashtags, that could be a whole thing too. So then we are ready. We're going to change it to auto publish. And then I don't have to worry about it. It's going to post on its own, but we don't want that to post today. I'll change it. Anyway, so then I would just keep going through and changing it to be the best times. And then that would be it. Where are we?
You done?
No. Okay. You hear my mom? You done?
Yep.
We got a full house here. Okay. So my next slide, this will be wrapped up pretty quickly. Finding your style. Skylie already touched on this. So Pinterest, I'm sure most of us have been on Pinterest and fallen down the Pinterest hole. Find tons of inspiration there. Try search. You got to get creative with your wording. Like you can search adding aesthetic to any kind of style that you like boho aesthetic, Instagram grid, modern aesthetic, Instagram grid, modern aesthetic website. You're going to find tons of inspiration on there. And like Skylie said, if you can just screenshot everything that you like, and then afterwards take the time to go through it, pick out the details that you like. It could be color, it could be font, whatever. Etsy has tons of creators that sell digital packages of social media that has your color scheme, your font, your graphics, and they even sell logos, and they can customize those. And then just scrolling, like Skylie had said, like just scrolling through your own Instagram and Facebook, you're going to see pages that stand out to you. And like I said, it's not necessarily trying to copycat them or mimic them. It's just taking the elements that speak to you and making them your own, and really taking the time to analyze what it is you like about their page and how it makes you feel. Oh, another thing too, I thought this was kind of funny. Like I've even taken like inspiration from like household items. Like I got this cute journal from HomeSense. I can't see my camera, but can you see that?
No. Maybe try not screen sharing for a second.
Okay. Okay, now can you see me?
No.
That's so weird. Oh, so like this, like I got this cute notebook from HomeSense, and I was like, I've actually like taken a picture of it and like found the colors on the hex code finder. And like, it just like was like kind of retro and vintage to me. I don't know if you guys can see it that well, but you can take inspiration from, I'm just going to go back to this.
That's so cool. So if you see a color that you like out there, you can take a photo of it and then find the hex color. Because that's
yes.
Have like the
because you can try and like color match on like whatever Canva and stuff, but it takes so long. So I was actually going to show you guys that quickly too on how I find the color. And even like different eras, like I really like the 70s, so I've kind of brought those colors into my personal Instagram. Okay, where was I? Slides. Yeah, I'll just show you because I have that all ready to go. So you can use, there's tons of different sites. You would just type in color hex code finder. So then I found this one. I've used this one a lot. Use your image. And I already went through Pinterest and I screenshotted a color scheme that I liked.
Oh, pretty.
Yeah, so even on Pinterest, you can type in like color stories, color schemes. I put in modern color schemes, and then this is what came up. So then I can actually click on each one.
That and take it to Home Depot and be like, I want this color. I wonder if they could do that, and then you could like paint your wall.
I feel like they could. I think that that's what they use is kind of like color coding. I guess they do it by like different brands and things, but I think so. So then down below, you can see the hex number. So then you could just screenshot that or write it down. So hex 896740. So then I would say go into Canva. Let's just see, like even here.
We're gonna have to do a full one on Canva. Hey,
I know, it's its own thing. It's amazing.
oh, there's two.
So then here you can actually say, and it actually has the hex code there. So I would type in 897640 and it finds it. And it's not always perfect on Canva, I found. It doesn't always look the exact same, but at least it kind of looks similar.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Pretty.
Yeah, and you can just go all across and give you different ones.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I think that was it. I just actually wanted, I think I missed a little part of the slide. And then in the end here, just a little something to think about. Learn the rules of social media so that you can know how to break them. Always keep in mind that this is your little corner of the internet. Have fun and make your space true to you. You can't please everyone. I've learned this with Skyly because, like she said, a few of her reels have gone viral, and there's really mean people out there that like to say mean things just to get a rise out of you.
Yeah.
There will always be the few bad eggs that will come across your content, but you'll reach so many more that will appreciate your authenticity. Those are the individuals that will help you grow both personally and professionally. And something that I have always kind of tried to keep in mind is like, when I was beginning, or like when I was looking for a photographer, what did I need to see? What did I need to hear? So like for Skyly, like as a realtor that's been doing this for a while now, we like to think about, what did you need when you were first starting out? What did you need help with? Let's think about that and create content based on that. What did you look for in a real estate agent when you were buying your first home? Let's make sure that we're helping people buying their first home. Yeah, that's just kind of my thing. I think that it's a lot easier to just be yourself and attract like-minded clients and people. Like a big thing for Skyly too is that, you know what, I'm going to be myself because I'm going to bring in the clients that I want to work with. And if they don't like what I have to say, then we're not going to have a good interaction anyways.
Yeah.
And it just makes more room for clients that are going to appreciate and respect your work. And that's what you need to be investing time into.
It's too much energy to try and be something else anyway.
It is. It's exhausting. Yeah, this was just, I somehow missed this, but my favorite tools, Lightroom, obviously presets, Canva, my number one, my ride or die. Later, hex code finder, dafont.com. I was going to show you, but if you go to dafont.com, you can find tons of free fonts that you can actually save the file to your computer and then upload it onto Canva. And you can purchase fonts too on Etsy, actually. And then the other one was the preview app, which is like Later, but it has a free version.
Yeah, cool. So much.
There we go. I can't believe that was an hour.
It was pretty much exactly an hour because we chatted for like 5 minutes in the beginning. Mm-hmm. You guys have any questions or anything you want to ask Rick, or too many?
I want to see everyone again. I'm going to stop
screen sharing. Yeah. Too many things. I don't think there's any questions. So it's exciting. We'll have to do a whole other one on like Canva, and then I mean, I'm on Lightroom. Wanted to learn exactly how to edit photos on there, and
yeah, definitely. Because there's still like your philosophy. I think that's a huge thing to establish, and your niche, which is tough. That is a hard one to nail down as a niche. I still struggle with that, and who you're trying to speak to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I can't see everyone. I don't know.
Just slide over, Callie, and see if you can get the grid. The one thing I'll also add for you guys too is something that I learned, and I think it's like really important, is that when you are, this is for like, I mean, Jackie, you're a mortgage broker, Eden, you're a realtor. Like, I think it's for every business. Well, not every business. I think it's mostly for our business, because while we are real estate professional, mortgage professional, I don't think it's like super great to have everything real estate and everything mortgage broker on our feeds at all times, because again, the algorithm will work against you if it's not stuff for businesses. I feel like, and I've again heard this a lot, is that if you're posting just lists or like accepted offers, and then you're posting like tidbits for first time home buyers and all that kind of stuff, if people aren't buying a home at this given point in their lives, they're not going to be interacting with your stuff, so that when they are actually going to be deciding to buy or sell their home, your stuff's not going to pop up on their feed anymore because they weren't actually interacting with your stuff to begin with. So if that makes sense. So in order to beat the algorithm, I think for our industry specifically, that's why I post so much stuff, and I post my kids, and I post my dogs, and I post our renos, because I want people to interact with my stuff even when they're not interested in buying and selling real estate.
Mhm.
So that's important for you guys too, because not everyone wants a mortgage.
Because that person might not be getting a mortgage or a house for like 5 more years, but you've created this relationship with them. And then when they think of a mortgage broker or a real estate agent, they're like, oh, right, Jackie or Eden or Skyly, right? Like you just pop into their mind because they like
I'm
you.
actually an investment advisor, and I'm not allowed to use Instagram to really talk about anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Our compliance is really tight. So I'm allowed to use LinkedIn, and I've now created a Facebook page because I can't post anything on my personal Facebook. And I can't really use Instagram. I can a little bit, but yeah.
Can you say like this is what I do, like if you need help? So you could like you can have a caption about something about your life, and then
yeah, totally. I
Makes
can't
it
talk
trickier.
about really anything specifically financial or about like stocks or anything like that.
yeah,
Can't give advice, no.
even with a disclaimer being like, use at your own risk, my advice.
Yeah, well, even the word risk. So like there's
Right.
words that they will you can't use the word risk. Because they think that you're talking about risk in the market.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God, just
Anyway.
crazy.
But I think Skyly made a really good point. Like people want to use someone that they know and they trust, especially with their finances and big decisions like buying a house. And so even if they just feel like they know you, like Skyly has that. I'm friends with Colleen, Castor, and everyone who knows. All like, oh, I know Colleen. And I'm like, you've never met her, but okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Feel like they know her. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Yeah,
like
that's
it's because you let people into your life, or like you make people feel like they know your life, and then that's what makes them trust you. And so
yeah.
as long as they know what you do and they like who you are, they're gonna think of you.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you share your dog, right?
Pardon?
Your poodle.
Yeah, I have my poodle.
And you share him on your social media, which I think is amazing too. Like people just,
Oh,
right? Like it keeps them coming back, which is like
Yeah.
yeah.
very
And there's
important.
silly things like if you get lost on my website, it's like a picture of Eugene, and it's like, sorry, we couldn't fetch that for you. Like
Oh my
just
gosh.
I love
like
that.
Oh my God.
something that I love, and I can always connect with people on it. Same with like I have a bunch of
That's so personal. Like it's actually your
Yeah.
dog.
yeah.
So cool. Is he a golden doodle?
No, straight poodle, straight
Okay.
sass. Yeah.
Straight sass. Nice.
Yeah,
Love it.
100%.
So fun.
But yeah. So yeah, I think it's like just a matter of being who you are and being relatable.
Yeah.
I think too, like something that I did a class with someone, and she said like it doesn't have to be like this big huge thing where you're sharing your entire day and everything you ate. It can just be like a quick like, this is what I'm up to today, like just one
Yeah.
story. And then another huge thing too is like showing your face on your feed. It's so important. I didn't realize how important it was, and then I did like a photo of myself and like a little spiel about me, and I booked like 4 photo shoots after that. And I was like, is this coincidence or like what is going on? to get
Yeah.
work.
Or I even think sometimes I'll know people and they start a job, especially if it's like a side gig, and I don't actually know that it's them. Like they'll be posting, they'll follow me, and I'm like, who the hell is this? But like it doesn't have their name and or their face, and so I'm not interested. But as soon as I know who they are, I'm like, oh, I'll follow, even if I have no reason to.
Yeah, it's inviting, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Credibility.
Yeah.
This is their face. They're not going to leave me like in the dust if I trust them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I will say there was one account following on Instagram, and it's the most interesting Instagram page because the woman never showed her face. And that was like her thing, was that she was like, I don't want to show my face on Instagram. And so every single photo she had, her face was like hidden, or it was just like this. And like, I don't know what she looks like. And I'm like just waiting for her to actually post a picture of her. But I think that that's just like a little bit of it's a funny gimmick. I don't know. I'm waiting for it to happen.
I feel like you need to be a very interesting person to get away with that.
It was quite interesting. And she posts, she's like, can I have a successful Instagram page without showing my face? So she always is like this in all of her photos.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I mean, back for a while, and I kept showing Cody. I was like, I don't think she's ever shown her face. And I'm like scrolling through, like, anyways, guys, we are at 12:13, so we should get going and get on with our days. Thank you guys so much for popping on. I hope that there was good information in there, some little nuggets. We're gonna have to, like I said, keep doing this because there's tons and tons. Maybe we should do like straight Canva. I know Eden, you know Canva quite well too, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you guys so much. I will see you next Friday.
Thank you, Callie.